DeSclafani, I'd be fine with playing at 7,900. They're in San Francisco against Colorado, so I'm not as worried since it's not in Coors. He already handled this team easily once already this year, earlier in the year, so I could see myself looking at him if I was playing, more than 2 or 3 lineups. I could definitely see myself playing a DeSclafani lineup. I love Buster Posey. I'm glad to hear DC, it's his favorite play on the slate because he's the first guy that kind of stuck off the page. Jared Walsh against Jordan Lyles, I could go to at 4.3. I think for the most part, shortstop's going to be a spend-up spot for me. I could see myself just going right to Corey Seager, 5,100.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. We're here to break down what do we got, about 8 games here on this Wednesday evening for MLB. A few pitchers that we'll talk about. I don't think there's a ton of guys really in play. Offense, so we have a lot of different spots to go to for offense. But before we dive into any of the MLB analysis, we got to get to our boy Title here, because if you weren't aware of the situation that occurred back in March, Title and Big T went one-on-one in basketball, and a lot of people were kind of pegging Big T as the favorite to win and kind of assumed that Big T would beat up on the Young Buck Title, but against all odds. And you know what, I was an early backer of Title, and I kind of wavered a little bit, but when it got close to the match, I realized that he was live. He took care of business. I mean, he beat Big T down, and honestly, it was in an embarrassing fashion. I mean, Big T was falling on the court. Title's just drilling the step backs in his face. Well, today, they came to terms for the rematch, and the prize pool is going to be much bigger this time around. Sounds like it's going to be a $10,000 bet between Title and Big T. Same rules, location, all that is yet to be determined. But Title, just want to get your thoughts here on the rematch and how you're feeling about things.
There's nothing better waking up to a free 10K in your pocket from Big T. Very, very generous guy. I mean, it's going to be our next RPS event. That's what he said, and that sounds good. We're going to play it day 1, so there's going to be no hangovers, no benders for any of us. It's going to be fun.
Tyler, did you already spend the 10K? Did you buy the dip on Bitcoin and invest the 10K you're sure to win already?
Yeah, bought a little more Ethereum, a little more crypto stuff. Yeah, I mean, it should be a better performance too than last time. 21-12. It'll be better than that. I'm excited though. Like last time, Big T, I already compared on the MMA show. This is Jorge Masvidal Jr. Big T, great talker. Now, unfortunately, the odds can't be -300 Big T, +200 Title. I don't know who's going to be on Big T. If you want more action, I'm sure people will take it, but I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Big T clearly at the back end of his basketball career, and that was very obvious if you watch the last game when you guys faced off. And yes, he did hit it hard for probably 3 straight days, but I don't think non-partying was going to save him. Big T really out of shape. I mean, if he stands a chance against you in this rematch, he's really going to have to put in the work. And, I don't know if he's going to at this point. He did buy a Peloton back in May, and I know of 1, maybe 2 instances where he actually got on it for a ride. I've seen in the background a lot of dust is collecting. So honestly, if he wants to compete, he's got to dust off that Peloton, and I don't know if it's going to happen.
He even said in Discord that he's not even going to. I hope he does make it more competitive, but I mean, there's levels to every sport. There's levels of the game. Unfortunately, Big T, your time has passed, man.
Here's the thing, Title. So I did get some money down on title, even odds. I didn't need a plus number. I'm not a shrewd negotiator, as the Discord knows when it comes to these types of bets. But I did ship the money on title at even odds, I think against Mangone. So those were some tasty dollars. Here's my question. So title, you're like the new age NBA player. You got like the step back three, right? You're like a mini version of a Curry, a Dame Lillard. But by the way, what a performance from Dame Lillard in that loss yesterday. Like, just insane. But
phenomenal.
Here's my question for you, Hoop. Do you think peak basketball Big T beats current title in this match?
You know, from what I've heard, you know, Big T was obviously
it's a tough
really
question.
good.
I think it's a close call.
I give him a lot of shit. I give
it's not
Big T
close.
Say no, title.
It's not close. I'll just say
the
that.
one thing I will say, title. Okay, the one thing
he could score on you. You didn't have a lot of when he had his energy. He could get the ball in the basket. I thought with relative ease. His advantage is substantial,
and you were pretty dependent on that step back three, which is not a very
you could
high
go cold.
efficiency shot.
Yeah,
right?
I went by him. I think I was 3 for 3 on lay. The thing is, I was exhausted too. Like, I mean, I wasn't feeling. I wanted to save my energy. I knew I could get that shot anytime. I got a lot more in my bag than just that step back. And also, anytime you go by him, he gives you a little stiff arm when you step back, gives you a little body check. We don't call fouls out there unless it's bad.
I assume you played basketball in high school.
I didn't play varsity, but I mean, I got better as like I played
Big T
more
lost to a non-varsity player.
Oh,
that's even worse now.
Man, your varsity team couldn't use a step back dead eye 3-point shooter. Man, that must have been a crack.
There was over 2,000 people. Big T, I did get confirmation. His school was under 100 people. That was
there wasn't 2,000 kids there wasn't 2,000 kids in Big T's entire conference. So
I make the joke about it, but like when he was in high school putting up those stats, I mean, literally they're like 8th graders he was facing. Like there was not many boys eligible to play basketball, like in general. So like that's not an exaggeration.
And Big T also had the darkest skin of anybody in the whole league.
He had the numbers, he had the accolades, but the competition was very, very weak. And Big T or Uncle T's in the chat, he can back that up. I mean, he's trying to understandably, get the back of his family member here, his nephew, kind of taking some disrespecting my man Big T. Uncle T, like we're spitting facts here. I mean, and we're me and DC are playing it fair. Like the negative for title in this rematch is, can he hit that step back at the rate he hit it in the first game? Does he need to? I don't know.
If you look at it, I missed a lot too. I got off hot like 8-0, but I went through a span where I might have missed 8, 9 in a row. Like, I mean, I can shoot better than that. I know. Yeah. I mean, you live and die by the 3. That's always been my motto, but I can get to the rim if I want to. I'll come in better shape too. And this is the best. Also, I mean, why you make it is you want to stay in shape. You want to, it's fun. I mean, I like being healthy, staying in shape, get moving. So this gives me some extra motivation.
It doesn't sound like that's the reason Big T made the bet, but okay.
No.
Listen, if this goes down, I'm clearly putting my money. If it's anywhere close to even money, somewhere in that range, like I'm going to back title this time.
The thing is, no one's going to be on Big T's side. Unfortunately, the action I think on title is already passed. I mean, if you're on Big T, slide in. I
might have to make my first ever visit to Kentucky and visit the knee house folks. Put Big T through some workouts and get some money on maybe a plus action here.
If you can
I might jump ship here. I'm just saying.
There's an opportunity if you can motivate Big T.
If I can get Big T 10 minutes on the Peloton, once a week in the month prior to the match, you never know.
Uncle T. I mean, Uncle T is relentless in here. I got Big T's back. Don't count him out. He'll be training hard. Uncle T, slide on in. Honestly, slide on in. I got the DM. I got the DMs open right now. We can get some initial action going. I mean, unless you know something we don't, I mean, which you might. I mean, you probably had lunch with the guy today and you guys talked about it. It's very possible.
He even said he's not going to get on. So I don't know if that changed. I really do hope he gets on. It makes more competitive game. I hope so. But
another thing a lot of people don't know is Big T just recently suffered an injury on the golf course. He's keeping it under wraps, but there's some sort of knee injury, I believe, as well.
Oh gosh.
So actually
21-0 even money. I don't know after hearing that. That's not, I mean, it's not going to be whenever the next event is when we'll play, but that's not a good sign.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting, something to watch. I know there was a lot of excitement and a lot of views on that last one. So we'll make sure to hype it up. Before we get into the MLB slate, we want to go and shout out some of our members that had big nights last night, and there was a couple real big ones in MLB, and it's nice to kind of do the show and then circle back and see these guys, playing the guys that we recommended. The first guy, M Dunn 420, had that pairing that I know DC and I talked about yesterday, Robbie Ray Marquez. We were both on that, and that was kind of the key to winning last night. I mean, 28 for Robbie Ray, 25 for Marquez, and our boy M Dunn 420 took down 10K on DraftKings. And then another big win, T Morris 1792 took down 20 grand in MLB, and I believe he was the guy that won 50K last week as well. So a 70K 2-week stretch for our boy T Morris 1792. So congratulations to those two guys.
Yeah.
If you want to get shouted out in this segment, and you have a win, a GPP win, just tag Run Pure Sports, put a little message in there, and we'll go ahead and shout you out in this segment of the show. So congratulations to those two guys. We're going to go ahead and lock in some more winners today. I bet
those two guys had my play of the day, Ronald Acuna, in there, which I ended up playing Alex Wood. So my night went south in a hurry once he took the mound. But it was one of those nights it happens, right? Sometimes the pitcher just gets lit up. Like you can't win them all. It was one of those nights that was frustrating for me, though, because if you watched the show yesterday,
literally
Strasburg is broken. Strasburg is broken. That was like the whole point of yesterday.
Every call you made was spot on, like yesterday, 100%.
And Strasburg lasted 1 2/3 inning. He's like literally injured. That was the whole point of the show yesterday. I said Ronald Acuna is going to steal bases off him. I think he stole a base on like the first. He got a walk and he stole the first base on like the first pitch of the next at bat. Like just shit like that. It's like, okay, this is a good call. So it's annoying when you get like, and they should have done more damage, right? They didn't even actually do that much damage to the injured Strasburg until they pulled him, and then they were okay against the bullpen. But it was one of those. It's like, man, they could have put up like 15 runs here against an injured Strasburg and in a full unplanned bullpen game. That's like the ideal scenario. So it was frustrating from like a personal perspective there, but awesome, obviously, to see the winners, the guys play the plays that we were on and ship. So that was great to see.
Yeah, both these guys. I mean, you're basically your play of the day. Ronald Acuna was the key to the slate.
You had to have him. Yep.
Yeah, 42 fantasy points. You didn't have him. It's gonna be tough to ship anything. Both those guys were on Acuna. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and run it back again today. Before we do so, I just want to remind you guys we still have that promo going for RPS Heater 25. It gets you 25% off your first payment of a monthly package over here at Run Pure Sports. Like I said, it has to be a monthly package. Our monthly package includes absolutely everything on the website. We're not going to upcharge you for different sports. I mean, that's one thing I always talk about, and you see it all the time with a lot of these sites around the industry. Baseball, hey, get the rest of baseball season for $350. Got NFL coming, they're probably going to charge you like $500. Like, we don't adjust our rates at all when the new sports start. It's one price right now for DFS. It's $80 for DFS and bets combo pack, just another $20 for bets, and $100 gets you everything on the website, every sport, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, which Title does a phenomenal job with. I always talk about MMA and his playbook that he does, core plays. Talk to the people about that a little bit. Let them know, because I think there's a couple big ones coming up here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we had last week off, and then we got a lot of fights coming up this week. Just like a normal event, not the highest level, but then we get a couple big ones, 3 5-round main events next week. And every pay-per-view card, DC, myself, and Joey work on Saturday. We break them all down, get the betting perspective by Joey, DFS by me. DC knows his stuff. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, last time we were out on the show, we absolutely crushed Oliveira card. We locked him in everywhere. Yeah. We faded Tony Ferguson everywhere. We had a lot of really good calls. Yeah.
Ferguson has to be done, right? I mean, that was embarrassing. That was tough.
I've been saying he's been done for his last 3 or 4 fights. He's made us a lot of money. Yeah.
We all called that. I mean, it was pretty apparent, and people fall for the name sometimes. MMA is a lot of fun, tons of edge in it. You don't always get the right fighters. I mean, so it's a lot of variant sport, but people stack it. People just there's so much edge in it. So
Yeah,
definitely check it out. I mean,
especially if you're kind of newer to UFC or MMA, those Saturday morning shows with me, you, and Joey Work, like we break down every fight. We give you kind of the style of each fighter, and we've just gotten a lot of great feedback from those shows because
it's an awesome show.
Especially when usually when the fight starts, I think what people have told me is like, wow, you guys like knew what you're talking about with these two guys. The fight's kind of going down exactly like you thought. You're not always going to get it right, and in MMA, a person can land a punch and it ends quicker than you think, but like you can. Styles make fights, right, with MMA. So it's fun to break those down. Those shows are great. And if you're trying to get into UFC at all or already into it, check those out because I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah, and like I always say, it's not just you guys do the fight breakdown as well, but you're able to roll it into DFS and how your approach should be for DFS, not just, I think this guy's going to win, so I'm going to play him 60%. I'm going to play the guy I think that loses in 40% of my lineups. Like that's the stuff you get from other sites. These guys actually really break it down and correlate it to DFS and sports betting as well. So do a phenomenal job. But like I said, that's all part of the package at Rumpier Sports. It's all included. So head on over, check us out. It's RPS Heater 25 to get yourself 25% off your first payment on a monthly package at Rumpier Sports. And then we got our boy in the chat, Brandon McNair. Can we get some same game parlays of G Risen over 20 Modelos, Mangone over 10 Red Bulls, and Title -5? Now that's actually pretty interesting because I know for sure, like in a one-day setting, like the G Risen Modelo's over 20 is a lock. Like that's like certainly a lock. Title -5, I'd probably be on Title -5. The question mark is Mangone over 10 Red Bulls. That's the one that's gonna, you're really gonna have to put in some work for Mangone to get the over on the 10. But those other two I think are looking pretty good. Wouldn't you agree, Title?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, can Mangone stay awake the whole day and not take a couple-hour nap? You just don't have him don't have him do any energy, go on the basketball court and pass out.
Yeah.
If he does that, yeah, maybe he does get the 10. He definitely does love his Red Bulls, but 10's hefty.
Yeah, that's a big price tag. The 10 Red Bulls, and Red Bulls plus Mangone doing any physical exertion like we saw resulted in near death. So if he's going to do the 10 Red Bulls, he's got to stay away from the basketball court. That's one thing we know for sure at this point. All right, let's go ahead. Finally hop into this slate. We're going to talk pitchers, then we'll go pitcher by position or position by position. At the pitcher position. To me, there's one guy that kind of stands out amongst the rest, and it'd be Walker Buehler. He's 10-6 on DK and 9.7K on FanDuel. In play clearly on both sites. I think he kind of stands alone as the top option. In terms of DraftKings, the second pitcher, I think there's a few guys to consider. Sean Manaea, he is 9.6K, gets a good matchup on the road against Seattle. 9.6K, I think, is a fair price tag for him. I've seen some people talk about Jordan Montgomery here. I'm not overly excited to play Montgomery. I'll probably be off of him. The next guy that kind of stands out to me, though, Alek Manoah, if that's how you pronounce
Manoah.
Yep. Manoah. All right, Alek Manoah, 8.2K. First start was absolutely phenomenal. Went out there against the Yankees. What did he get? 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. Gets a good matchup here at home against, well, not at home, I guess in Buffalo against the Marlins. The same matchup where Robbie Ray just dominated yesterday. So he's a guy that I have some interest in as well. For me, those are kind of the guys that stand out. Go to you, DC. Talk to me about some of these pitchers and anything that stands out to you.
Yeah, I am a huge believer in Alek Manoah. People that watch the show or listen to the podcast, I mean, I've talked about him when he's not even on the slate. He's been one that I've been waiting to be called up. Fortunately, I talked about this on the podcast this morning. He got scratched from the main slate when he was 4K, and then pitched on like a afternoon 5 p.m. turbo slate where like the biggest contest on DraftKings was like an 11-man $100. So I didn't actually get to use him in that one, but I'll be using him tonight. I think he has a case to be projected raw fantasy points over Walker Buehler tonight. I think he's that level of pitcher. They don't come along very often. We saw, I don't know, like when Steven Strasburg made his debut when he was a rookie, he just absolutely shoving, just dominant stuff. I don't think Manoah is quite to that level, but if you look at like what he's done in spring training, three AAA starts, and in his debut in Yankee Stadium, where he got off to a rough start. I mean, making his MLB debut, he walked DJ LeMahieu on 4 pitches to start the game. And then from there, he was just dominant. And he is one of those pitchers that has the fastball that he can just throw right by people, right? Those are the guys, especially rookie pitchers, that can dominate when they just arrive right away. Because it's tough if you're kind of, relying on a ton of breaking balls and trying to get hitters to chase. Like, that takes some time to learn that. But Manoah has a great slider, a great breaking ball. He has a good changeup. But when push comes to shove, I mean, he could go out there and just throw 4-seamers for an entire start and maybe strike out 10 guys. Like, he's got that type of stuff. Super high spin rate on the 4-seamer, throws it up in the zone, and then the slider that he'll use, backdoor to even lefties and then down and away, obviously, to righties. I think he'll dominate here. Honestly, I really do, against Miami. So he's the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel at $10K flat. And it's one of those weird slates to me where that makes me almost want to play more FanDuel than DraftKings, because I don't think people are going to want to pay all the way up for Alek Manoah when you can get Walker Buehler for a little bit cheaper. But I think Manoah can easily be the top scorer on the slate. So he is my SP1. Buehler right behind him. Obviously, you kind of know what to expect with Walker Buehler, right? I don't actually play him that much in tournaments because his upside is just not the same as most pitchers that are kind of priced in that 10 to 12K range on DraftKings. But tonight, he looks like a good option. Sean Manaea, I'm with you, Hoop. I think he's good. And from there, it gets pretty rough, right? There's really not that many pitchers that you can feel comfortable playing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it falls off pretty quickly. And I mean, to me, I don't see any reason to go dumpster diving. Although, I mean, we do have some top offenses and some offenses in real good spots and some expensive hitters to maybe pay for, but still, I think I'd much rather find a couple cheap hitters so I can really lock in some security at the pitcher position. I mean, is there anything cheap that you're potentially looking at here?
Yeah, a couple guys. So Shane McClanahan has, just absolutely insane stuff throwing from the left side and the metrics to back it up. I mean, he's literally throwing 100, 101 with a slider and a changeup. If you look at like what he's doing in terms of swinging strike rate, it's off the charts for him. I mean, he's pitched 27 innings. He's got 32 strikeouts. I actually think that's a low number for what you can project going forward in terms of, strikeouts per inning. Problem is you just don't know how deep he's going to go in the game, right? I mean, this is a guy that's throwing, last 2 starts, 63 pitches, 67 pitches. He's so good that, even in relatively tough matchups, right? In Dunedin and against KC, who aren't big strikeout guys, he was able to get through 5 innings in both those starts. They did let him go up to 80 pitches and 75 in the 2 pitches before that. Seems like he's basically capped at 5 innings, even if he's rolling. But on this slate, right, like that could be enough. 5 strong innings. I mean, I know it's the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, but the Yankees, if you look at the numbers, they're not hitting right now. And he does have the stuff to mow down any lineup. There's no question about it. So McClanahan at 7,600, I think is a decent option. If you want to get some of the bats, if you want to get a Ronald Acuna against John Lester, which kind of do, right? I mean, it's kind of a tough fade there. So it's like, if you play Buehler and or you two top guys, Buehler, Manaea, it'll be hard to get too many of those studs. And there's not that many great bats on this slate either. When we go position by position, there's only going to be 2, 3, 4 guys, I think, at each position that we're excited to play. So McClanahan, at 7,600, I think is okay. And then if you want to go all the way down, if you really want some bats, Randy Dobnak can at least give you 100 pitches. I don't know how well he's going to perform necessarily in Baltimore. I think he's got a chance at least to give you, 15 fantasy points, maybe 20 if he gets the win and things go his way. Again, not excited about him. He's not a high strikeout guy, but at least I think he's got a chance to go relatively deep into the game against Baltimore. But
he was last time we did the show I think it was last week. You recommended him. He was rolling good.
He fell apart his last inning, but
it was the last inning, right?
He's capable. What I'm saying is he's. If you told me he pitched 7 innings and got 4 strikeouts and 1 earned run and got the win, that's totally a realistic line for him, right? He's capable of that. And at 5,500 on this slate, that's something,
Yeah. All right, Title. Give us your breakdown here at the pitcher position.
Yeah, it's very similar to you guys. I think it's pretty clear cut. Walker Buehler is my SP1 on both sites. But I do think if you do want to play Manoah, play more of FanDuel because he's definitely going to be a lot lower owned over there, being the highest owned pitcher. Yeah. And he does have the upside for sure. He's my SP2 on DraftKings right now. I like that price at 8.2K. He's got really good stuff. I know he was scratched from the main slate last time. Hopefully people go away from him or scared about the price little. I don't think so, but it's Walker Buehler. It's Manoah for my SP1 and SP2. Sean Manaea is my SP. He's my third favorite option. I think it falls off after them pretty much. You can in tournaments, you can mix in, fade one of those two and then mix in Manaea. I think it's viable if you're playing a lot of lineups. I don't like, it's not a Walker Buehler's a lock in 150 lineups like we said a couple of days ago, the Corbin Burns. But
I mean, I think it's face a tough lineup, right? Like the top half of that St. Louis lineup. I mean,
yeah,
he can obviously get it done, but it's no joke. Like those are some pretty established good major league hitter. I mean, the Edman, Carlson, Arenado, Goldschmidt, Molina, like he could pitch well, but like those guys aren't going easily, you know. They'll put up a fight.
Yeah, it's not the nuts matchup for sure against a tight. You're buying in on the talent, buying in on the other, or the slate, how it works. There's just not too many arms. Outside of those three, if I did have to pick one guy, the lowest I'd go, and it doesn't sound good, I'm not going to get there. If you're doing 20 entry max or something, Drew Smiley, 7.2K.
Sure. Yep.
He has some upside at that price tag. If you want to get all the expensive bats, a Manoah, Smiley, you can pay up for the Acuñas. I mean, there's a lot of studs on this slate, some good hitting. You can go Freeman, stack a lot of different ways. So he'd be as cheap as I go. That's only if I'm making multiple lineups, though, because I do think Manoah and Buehler and then Manaea are a tier above all of them. FanDuel, Buehler is my SP1, but tournaments, DC makes a really good case, as I mentioned. He'll be a lot lower owned over there. So you can get your exposure over there for cheap. And as DC said, I mean, he's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. 7 strikeouts his last time out. He definitely could be. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he was the highest raw scoring points pitcher on this slate at low ownership. So, I think we're all three of us are on the same page again, and it worked out last week on Monday or a couple of days ago Monday. So hopefully it works again.
And the way, I mean, to be honest, we've kind of been beating the same drum here for a while when we talk about pitchers. I mean, the way things are right now in baseball, the way the pricing is on DraftKings, there's just no reason to get cute at the position. Just take your points at pitcher and, lock in your offense. It's been a winning formula here for a while. I mean, these pitchers that look good on paper, for the most part, produce. So I wouldn't get cute at the position. I mean, the few guys that we're interested in, I think should be your cores. So let's go ahead and talk about some hitters, start out at the catcher position. And honestly, I feel like the last few times that we've done shows, there's been catchers that we like to pay up for, or we have interest in paying up for. Today, though, I think that's kind of where it stops because there is not much at the catcher position at all. I mean, for me, the first thing that stands out is I'm assuming this guy for the Twins, Ben Rortvedt, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Rortvedt, you got it, yeah.
All right, perfect. So assuming he's in the lineup, which I think he is. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're really even. He's 2K. I'll kind of take that and move on. If you're stacking up teams, I'd be fine getting a cheap guy. Like if you want to stack up the Braves today, you can get Kevin Smith. He's 2.5K. Like I'm fine doing that. It's just not a good position. There's not much to pay up for. I'm going to definitely be looking to save some money here at this position. Title thoughts here at catcher.
Yeah, there's no way you pay out. There's no one really to even pay out for. Just punt all the way. There's other guys that we want to spend up for on this slate, spend up on pitching. So Ben Rortvedt, he's definitely going to be the most chalky option in this Twins offense. I'm just going to play whoever fits my stack in tournaments. He's the cash play, but Kevin Smith against Leicester at 2.5K. Austin wins if you're stacking Baltimore. There's Jonah Heim down there in Texas. We haven't got that lineup yet, but he could be at the bottom. He's very cheap at 2.8K. So not as cheap, but it's going to be all the way down. A part of your stack. Rortvedt's definitely going to be the most popular, though, at min price.
DC, anything standing out to you at catcher?
No, not a ton more to add, to be honest. The only thing I'll say, Rortvedt is a better hitter than his MLB numbers so far would indicate. He's got a little pop in the bat, so I do think he's a very, very strong place. I mean, he's in there at 2K. Will Smith, I always like him against right-handed pitchers, and I do like the Dodgers a lot against Carlos Martinez, but it's more as a stack against him because he's like a ground ball dude. He can't get any strikeouts, but he doesn't give up a lot of home runs, right? So you kind of need the team effort where they're stringing together hits, walks. get him out of the game early, get to the bullpen. So I would, if I'm stacking the Dodgers, I would certainly include Will Smith if he's in the lineup. But I don't think I would want to really use him as a one-off. And then I have no problem going up to Dom Nunez. Kind of a ridiculous price for him, right? 4,600 on DraftKings. He's hitting eighth. He's not really a good hitter, but he has hit pretty well at Coors Field, and he does have power, and obviously gets a good matchup here against Jordan Lyles. So, if he runs into one, which I think is, somewhat likely, he could easily be the top scoring catcher on the slate by a wide margin, right? We don't expect many good scores from the catcher position. So if he has a good game, and certainly it's possible, he could be kind of a standout play at the position. But I'm with you. I think Rort Vet at 2K seems like the kind of the obvious play.
All right, before we move to first base, do us a favor. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us to continue to bring you guys these free shows on a daily basis. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, helps us out a lot. Let's go ahead and talk about some first basemen. A lot of solid options here and all the pricing tiers, really. I mean, yesterday, Nate Lowe, really cheap, 3.5K. Well, they kept him cheap, 3.7K today. He'll be very popular, but, the Rangers are in a good spot here. Obviously, much better matchup today than yesterday. Yesterday, we were all kind of on Marquez. Today, they get Senzatella. I think it's a better matchup clearly for them. Low, only 3.7K. Solid price tag for him. In that same game, you get CJ Cron on the other side, 4.8K. So you're paying a little bit more, but he, again, gets a good matchup here against Jordan Lyles. The game has a total of 11. Coors will be much more popular today than it was yesterday. People were on the fact that those pitchers were pretty decent. Their ownership wasn't as high as we typically see in Coors. Today, that will change, though, because both these pitchers much worse. The Twins guys, Sano, 4K, Kirilloff, 4.5K, basically locked into good lineup spots with Garver out of the lineup. So they should all get bumped up a little bit. Sometimes you see Sano down there batting 6th or 7th. I wouldn't be surprised if he's batting 5th or maybe even 4th today. Freddie Freeman, lefty. A lot of people will stay away against John Lester. I don't hate playing him in tournaments. At the full price tag, he's 5.4K, but those are 4 or 5 of the guys that I'm going to be looking at today. Like I said, it's a loaded position, a lot of different options. DC, what are your thoughts here at first base?
Yeah, I mean, the first, make sure you've got some upside here, right? Don't try to punt this position with a singles hitter type, because there's going to be some big scores out of first baseman today. We can't always predict exactly who it's going to be, but I can say some of these first basemen are going to go off. I'm going to this Rockies game tonight, so
gotta stack it. If you're going to a game, an MLB game, you have to stack it. It's a rule.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Whenever you go to a game, oftentimes, people are like, oh, some good pitchers are on the mound. I'm going to go watch these good pitchers. When you're going to Coors Field, you want the shittiest pitchers possible, right? You're looking for the slugfest because you're stacking it up. That's the only way to do it. I'm sitting in the left field bleachers, hoping to catch a Joey Gallo home run ball out there. So forgive me if I'm leaning Rockies and Rangers today. Sorry, Title, to steal your Rockies stick for one day, but
right there in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Give me some Nate Lowe. I'll be sitting right behind your right ear. There is my seat, so it should be good ones. But yeah, Nate Lowe, CJ Cron, obviously great plays. I don't think you have to play the Coors guys though, right? I mean, give me Kirilloff over Miguel Sano. I just think he's a way better hitter, frankly. I know Sano has a ton of power, but I think Kirilloff does too. Kirilloff, I think he's top 10 in MLB against the fastball this year. You're going to get a lot of them from Matt Harvey, right? In Baltimore, that seems like a really good spot for Kirilloff. I know he's let us down from time to time, but I'm still a huge believer in him going forward. So yeah, for me, mostly Coors Field and then some Kirilloff. If you want to get, I guess, maybe a little bit different, Matt Olson against Flexen seems like a pretty good play. Not at all worried about Seattle, not a great home run park, but Olson just has so much power. And then Ryan Zimmerman, I assume he'll be in there against Smiley. He's crushed lefties this year. Pretty good option, again, if you want to get further off the board.
Title, what are you doing here at first base?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like this is the first show I've been on with Coors on the slate since I think opening day, DC. I don't know if that's true, but
Oh
they're in
man,
a
that must be hurtful for you. You should schedule only Coors shows.
really
It seems like they've
hurtful.
been. It really does seem like they've been on the road a ton this year. I don't know what the numbers are, but
We just make fun of you every time there's a Coors game and you're not on the show. Is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, because if there's Coors on it, titles playing it. I had a couple Coors bet McMahon, I had Gallo, I had some yesterday, but this spot, I mean, two awful pitchers, Senzatel, Jordan Lyles. It's hard not to like Coors, and I'm the biggest Coors guy there is. So Nate Lowe, he's for sure going to be chalky. CJ Crone, I definitely like him. I'm really interested to see what people do with the Twins. They've let people down the past couple of days. I mean, I know I see our Discord all the time. People they hate playing the Twins now. They're on the do not play list. And if the Twins aren't going to be played, I'm definitely going to go right back against Matt Harvey.
They're going to be played. They're facing Matt Harvey in Baltimore. Everyone's going to go right back to him. And they should, man. I mean, shit happens. It's baseball.
And I agree. That's what I'm saying. They're in a great spot today. I'm fine going. They can do me bad multiple times. The spot today, it's DFS. That's in a great spot. So yeah, Kirilloff is the pivot. I do prefer him over Sano. We like lefties more against Harvey. If we're not going to go Twins or Coors, free money Freddie, 5.4K. John Lester. I know it's lefty, but I'm not scared of John Lester at all. I do like Atlanta stack. I think they're going to be pretty underowned. Obviously, Ronald Acuna is one of the top bets, but Albies, Freeman, Acuna, if you're going to go a little cheaper at pitcher and not go Bueller, I think they make a lot of sense. But I'm going to be sticking mainly in the Coors game or Minnesota.
Yeah, and the thing with Minnesota, they've been very popular the last couple slates, and they just haven't had much competition in terms of where they stack up with the other offenses. Tonight, there's a lot of other options. We have Coors, we have the Braves in a really good spot. We have some other fringe offenses, even like the Astros. We have the Dodgers are in a pretty good spot. So there's competition for the Twins today. So if you do want to go back to the Twins, I don't think it's good. Yes, they're going to be owned, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh shit, I better fade them type ownership. So, all right, let's talk second base. And, we have Coors options at second base, assuming Solak gets a good spot, potentially second, he'd be 4.5K. Ryan McMahon, you're paying the full price for him. He's batting third against Lyles, 5.6K. Another guy I wanted to bring up, Jose Altuve, just swinging a hot stick. We talked about it on the show yesterday, and I really didn't realize it, but I ended up getting on him, and it paid off because he had a bomb. I believe it was in the first inning.
Yep.
Looks like a position to pay up for. You do have a punt though. If you want to punt a guy in a good lineup spot, Mike Brousseau, 2.5K, batting fourth for the Rays tonight in Yankee Stadium. So I don't hate him. Curious to see where Jorge Polanco lines up, what lineup spot Jorge Polanco gets in. Expensive as well, 4.9K. So we have premium spends in McMahon. We have, mid-tier guys, and we have a full punt. So a lot of different ways you can go at this position. Title, thoughts at second base.
The one guy you didn't bet, I agree completely. McMahon. There's Ozzy Albies. I like Atlanta a lot. 4.6K in the mid-tier, a little step down below McMahon. And then Josh Harrison at 3K too against Smiley. I know if I had to play a fourth pitcher on the slate, it would be Smiley, but I don't love him. Josh Harrison at 3K. If you want to get an Acuna, pay up at other spots, he should be at the top of the order. I do like that price. That's probably the lowest I would go at 3K, but that's probably where I will end up too, because there's other spend ups we'll get to at positions that we like. We're spending up at pitchers. So Harrison's my favorite going down. If I'm going up, I like Ryan McMahon. Max Muncy's another pivot too, 5.2K, the Dodgers. I know DC mentioned earlier he likes them too. Carlos Martinez, you definitely can stack against him. So I like the Dodgers. I think they'll be lower owned. And no one's going to play Muncy at this position. So there's some good options. McMahon up top, Muncy is the pivot, or Josh Harrison for cheap.
DC, thoughts at second base?
Yeah, I would say four guys, which, Title touched on them all, no surprise. Harrison's the cheap guy, right? If you want him at 3K, I think he's a good play. I do think McMahon is the number one, right? I think he'll be real popular because you can play him at second or third base. But I do want one of three guys: McMahon, Muncy, or Ozzy Albies against John Lester. I like Ozzy Albies still better from the right side. I know the numbers this year haven't really proven that out yet. He hasn't faced many lefties, but he's got a couple-year track record of just smashing left-handed pitching. he's coming around in general. So I do expect that to kind of show itself soon. So I like all three of those guys, McMahon, Muncy, Albies. And then if you need the punt, Josh Harrison at 3K. Those are the four guys for me, on an 8-game slate. I don't think you need to go farther than four guys at a specific position. So it'll be one of those four guys, just kind of depending on who I can afford in each individual lineup, based on the rest of the lineup construction.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options at this position. Same can be said about third base. Heading over to third base, and we have Twins guys there. Obviously, Donaldson, Sano, 4.3K, 4K. Those guys will be popular. I talked about Brissot at second base. He's third base eligible as well, 2.5K. That's close to a full punt. Austin Riley batting fourth for the Braves, 4.1K. I think he's a very strong play. You can also play Ryan McMahon at third base, 5.6K, like we talked about. Those are a few of the names. I'm trying to see anything else. No, those are mostly the guys that I'm kind of looking at the position. So again, a lot of different options here. Title, what are you thinking here at third base?
Yeah, there's McMahon and the Twins guys, Donaldson and Sano, like you said. I expect them to get most of the ownership. I really like Austin Riley, though, at 4.1K. He's just been swinging a really hot bat. We love this Braves team. I think people are going to go different ways at third base, and that's too cheap for a lot of power he has. So Austin Riley's my favorite tournament guy. If you're going to go cheap, Starlin Castro, he's 3.1K. Similar spot. I mean, this Washington team's cheap. They outside of Soto, they have cheap pieces. Smiley, like I said, I mean, he's in a fine spot, but I'm not expecting him to pitch a gem. So Starlin Castro, 3.1K. If you're going to go cheap, he is my favorite. I think Josh Donaldson and Sano probably will be the most popular in that 4.3, 4K range. And I like him for sure. If you're going to stack the Twins, you definitely got to have him. But Riley's my guy for tournaments.
PC, what are you thinking at third?
Yeah, I mean, give me Riley over in Sano and Donaldson, right? I don't know what ownership exactly will come in between those three guys. Donaldson 4.3K, Riley 4.1, Sano 4.0.
It'll go Donaldson, Sano, Riley. I think. I mean, I'm very confident Riley will be the least popular.
Depends where it probably depends where Sano bats. Like if he gets,
I'm not so sure. We'll see. I actually.
Do you want some action on that?
Yeah,
DC?
no, I always lose to you, so I'm not taking your action. But
I think Donaldson's definitely number one. I mean, he's the household DFS name. I mean, Austin Riley's still kind of not an unknown, but he's definitely not as known as Donaldson.
I just think all the ownership's going to go Coors and Twin. I mean, not all Twins, but I think that's really where it's concentrated.
What I mean, Twins have a 5.4 total. Braves have a 5.5. People like stacking against Leicester too. Riley's hitting cleanup.
If you want the action, I'm here. But I mean, we like. I think it's going to be the cheapest. That's why I'm on Riley, and I like him at 4-1.
I like Riley the best by far. So that's where I'm going. I'm hoping you're right. I'll just play Riley and hope you're right, and he is lower owned. But yeah, obviously McMahon here. We talked enough about him. I mean, I kind of think it's between those four guys. Yeah, if you want to punt it, like you said, I mean, Starlin Castro, like. You're going to need the chalk to bust, right? If you're going to get him as kind of a quality play, because he's just unlikely to do any significant damage. You're kind of hoping for, a couple doubles or whatever, some RBIs. But yeah, it's the two Twins guys. Riley's by far my favorite. And then McMahon, if you can afford him, all the way at the top.
Yeah, a lot of very, very strong options here for sure at the third base position. Let's go to shortstop. And again, we have some decent options. This actually isn't as strong as some of the other positions that we've talked about. I mean, if you want to go all the way up to the top, you can get Trey Turner against Drew Smiley. I mean, probably the safest option at the position, but you're kind of paying a premium, 5.5K. Carlos Correa continues to bat second for the Astros. He's only 4.2K. I think he's a guy that we can consider. If Andrelton Simmons is in there, probably at the bottom of the order, but 2.1K full punt gets you a little more exposure to that Twins lineup that we like. Dansby Swanson, 4.1K batting fifth for the Braves in that John Lester matchup that we have some interest in. Go to your first title. Thoughts here at shortstop.
Yeah, pretty much what you said. I mean, this actually shortstop's one of the worst positions on the slate, which we don't say too often. If you're going all the way up, Trey Turner, but I don't think I'll probably get there. I like some other spend ups more. Correa and Dansby Swanson, 4-2, 4-1 in the mid tier. My favorite pivot off of them, though, and if you've watched the show, you know it's my boy, but Gavin Lux at 3.9K should be in the 5 or 6 hole. We like the Dodgers. I like the lefties more. And Gavin Lux, he's been swinging a hotter bat as of late. So he's my favorite low owned shortstop. If you're going to go all the way down, Andrelton Simmons, 2.1K, just getting exposure to that Minnesota team is a full pump. But yeah, Gavin Lux is my tournament guy at shortstop.
BC thoughts at shortstop?
Yeah, I think, there's nobody that really stands out. So I do think you'll see ownership a little bit spread around here. Like, I really like Dansby Swanson. He's looked really good, specifically against lefties this year. So he's 4,100, like you mentioned. If you want to spend all the way up, I think that's a decent spot to do it. Turner or Bogarts. I would slightly prefer Trey Turner here, but I could see going either direction. Looking up Smiley. Oh yeah, actually, I'm gonna change that to Trey Turner because for some reason I had overlooked how easy it is to steal bases against Drew Smiley. So that's gonna give the bump to Trey Turner for me over Bogarts. Kiner Falefa, he's had a really good season as well. Goes to Coors Field. I think he's fine at 4,600. Kind of like him more if he's hitting like 7th in this lineup, which he sometimes does against righties, just because I think the ownership will be lower, which I think does matter on the slate. But yeah, and then Gavin Lux, totally with that. Freddie Galvis, I don't mind lefties against Dobnak. I don't really want right-handers. Just the ground ball rate is so high, but take a shot on Freddie Galvis hitting cleanup at 3,300 as well. So some ways to go. Again, this slate seems kind of cut and dry a little bit to me. There's no super like sneaky plays. It doesn't seem like so far. It just kind of is what it is.
All right. Yeah. I mean, shortstop, not the greatest position. I mean, some of these other spots, I think very, very appealing. Shortstop, it's not all that good. Outfield, though, obviously we're going to have a lot of options in the outfield. We've talked about the Rangers bats a lot on the show. Their outfielders continue to be, underpriced. Got Willie Calhoun, 3.8K, Joey Gallo, 4.3K. I have a sneaky suspicion that DC might be looking at some of these guys since he's heading to the game tonight. We have the Twins guys as well. Nelson Cruz, if Garlick gets a good lineup spot for the Twins, he's only 2.8K. Trevor Larnach, 2.4K. Definitely solid options there. We have on the Rockies side, Daza, 3.1K. And I mean, another egregious price tag there. Tapia 4.8K, solid play. Karloff 4.5K. So like always, outfield's going to be loaded. A lot of different ways to go. We got the Twins, we got Coors. I mean, I think that's where most of the ownership comes from. Ronald Acuna as well, 5.7K. Easy to get him. I mean, it's a loaded position. We have a lot of guys that are really underpriced in really good spots. So I mean, this is going to be a spot that you want to target upside. DC talked about it at the first base position. You don't want a guy that's just going to be hitting singles tonight. And that can kind of
need some production from outfield tonight. You got to have it.
You're going to have to. I mean, these guys, so many guys, really good spots, cheap price tags. DC talked to me about the outfield position.
Yeah, so at the top, Acuna, the top dog for me. I don't think it's particularly close, honestly, between, a Rosarena, Judge, Acuna, Garrett Hampson. I know he's in Coors Field. He doesn't really belong in the conversation with those guys. Betts doesn't really seem fully healthy to me. If you're stacking the Dodgers, sure. Charlie Blackmon, I mean, I know it's Coors Field, but give me Acuna for 300 more, right? Like, it's just kind of insane. So I want Acuna. I think a priority play. Dude is just so locked in. Of course, all the Rangers outfielders, right? Adolis Garcia, Calhoun, Gallo. I mean, Chris Davis, I don't expect him to be in the lineup, but if he is, he hit a home run yesterday. Any of those guys, I think, are strong plays. A couple guys that not going to go overlooked. Nobody's really going overlooked, I don't think, on this slate. Jordan Alvarez, I was a little bit nervous about him yesterday, coming off 5 or 6 days out with that wrist injury. Saw enough from him yesterday. He hit 3 balls sharply. Seems good to go, right? I just needed to see one game where he looked like himself, because before that he was like 0 for 19 with 13 strikeouts. But I think he's back and healthy, so he's a fantastic play against Nick Pivetta, as is his teammate Kyle Tucker, 3,500. I mean, Tucker, we've been on him all season. He just was hitting into horrible luck for the first month or so, but that's turned around for him. He's been on fire, 3,500, great value there. And I will mention Giancarlo Stanton. I love Shane McClanahan as a pitcher, but so far from what I've seen from him, by far his biggest weakness, he tries to throw back foot sliders. He's a lefty to right-handed hitters, and he's given up some absolute bombs to right-handed guys. Matt Chapman, which unfortunately cost me my hair, Jose Peraza. And the one guy on the Yankees that if he's going to hang a slider right over the zone, Stanton would be the guy I think that's most likely to jump on that and pull that one, 500 feet into the left field seats. So I kind of like Stanton a little bit to jump on a mistake pitch, but that's more of a tournament play, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think many people will be on Stanton, so maybe a solid one-off tournament option tonight. Title, a lot of guys that I'm assuming you like here at the outfield position. You got all your Coors dudes, you got the Twins guys, and we have some other cheap options as well. Kind of narrow down this outfield position for me.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it best. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Gallo, Calhoun, they're way too cheap in Coors. Nelson Cruz, he's 4.6K on DraftKings. He's 3.2K on FanDuel. That price just doesn't make sense at all. That's a plug and play in cash games. I know we talked about it Monday. We don't know what FanDuel does with their pricing sometimes, but way too cheap. There's Trevor Larnach, 2.4K for the Twins. I like Kyle Tucker and Alvarez too. Some guys that I'll mention a couple guys at DC or nobody mentioned that might go a little under. The Baltimore guys, DJ Stewart, Anthony Santander. I think those guys, they have some power, both lefty, like DC said. We rather they're going to go low owned. The thing is, it'd be a mini stack more so, or with Galvis too, but I don't love the lineup top to bottom. I would mainly be sticking at the top of the order. The thing is, the outfield's just so loaded. There's so much opportunity cost. Playing two of those guys means Gallo, Acuna, Calhoun. You got to fade some of them. I think in tournaments, Colorado's going to go really low owned today. Not really low owned, but I have a feeling that they're the team that's going to be left out. I think Texas and Minnesota are going to be a lot more popular. Blackman, if you want to get different, Jonathan Daza, CJ Crone. I think that's an interesting 3-man stack in tournaments that I think it's a little overlooked in Coors, but the Texas bats definitely are the top. Calhoun, Gallo, Acuna, top bat on the slate. I agree. And then the Twins guys too. I mean, we're on it's pretty condensed. I mean, it's an 8-game slate. We make it like 3 teams, 4 teams for hitting, and it's treated us well. I mean, you eat some ownership, but guys aren't coming in 60, 70% like NBA. They're still lower owned. So I think you play the best plays at more positions than not.
Yeah, I could not agree more. We have our stacks coming up. We have the plays of the day. But before we get there, we got to get these likes up. Got about 435 watching, 142 likes. So do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button before we get into the final segment of the show. Just wanted to also remind you guys about the partnership we have with SuperDraft. If you head on over to SuperDraft and use the promo code RUNPURE, you get a deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. That promo code is RUNPURE at SuperDraft, and the deposit match is up to $100 on your first deposit. So head on over there, check those guys out. We have a section in the core plays part of our website that is devoted to SuperDraft picks and plays. So head on over to SuperDraft, check them out. RUNPURE is the promo code. Let's get into some stacks. We'll start with you, Title Town. Talk to me about a couple of maybe the more popular stacks, and then one under the radar stack for me.
Yeah, so Texas is my favorite. They're going to be popular for sure. I think, like I said, I think the Rockies, the more we've talked and looked at it, I think they're going to go under owned. So I'm going to put them at number 2 and maybe even number 1 with ownership accounted for. People are going to play the Acunas and other people over Blackman's. Outfield's so loaded. I don't think Daza gets played as much. First base, so many options with Lowe being too cheap. CJ Crone might go under owned. So Rockies are going to be my number 2. Obviously, we love the Braves, but a lower owned stack. I'm gonna go Baltimore. I think Baltimore. I like Camden Yards. It's in the outfield, most of their weapons, but Freddie Galvis, like DC mentioned, I didn't mention that shortstop, but he is batting cleanup. I do like a mini or 3-man stack with Baltimore that shouldn't be played.
All right, DC, talk to me about some of the stacks that you have interest in outside of the Coors stack, obviously, because you are going to the game and you must fade it or must stack it.
I'll have plenty of Coors, but not 100% Coors. Nothing more miserable than sitting at Coors Field and watching your stacks fail. So you got to have a little action elsewhere. I do really like the Braves, of course, against John Lester. And one thing that's growing on me, I kind of overlooked it, honestly, coming into the show. So I want to correct that a little bit, but this Nationals team against Drew Smyly, I think, has a chance to do some serious damage, especially on the base paths. So I talked about Drew Smyly. He's been like the fourth or fifth easiest pitcher to run on over these last 3 or 4 years. And catching today is Kevin Smith, who I have the numbers for him. He really hasn't played much in these last 2 years, but he was basically kind of a half-time catcher from 2017 to 2019. And in half a season of games, he allowed 2017, 56 steals and 8 caught stealing. 2018, 41 steals and 7 caught stealing, and then 30 steals in 5 caught stealing. So he is just horrific at throwing runners out. And this was when he was considered, a borderline starter. Now he hasn't played in a couple of years. You got to assume he's even worse at that. Throwing Smyly. I mean, I think this is a situation, I kind of called it with Acuna yesterday, going to be off on the first or second pitch. I think you'll see that with Trey Turner. I think he'll steal second almost certainly, and probably third if given the opportunity against Smyly, Kevin Smith battery. And then I think Josh Harrison also has a good chance to be running. He'll probably be hitting second. And Juan Soto, only a couple steals this year, but he had 6 steals last year in a short season. So all three of those guys, good hitting matchups as well. And if you're getting stolen bases on top of it, that's when you can just have a monster first inning, right? If you kind of get rolling that way. So the Nationals, I wasn't really on them coming into the show, but I am now, especially with Kevin Smith behind the plate.
Yeah, I like that call. One kind of stack that I'm looking at is the Astros. I don't think a ton of people will be on the Astros.
Yeah, I like that too.
Talked about Altuve, kind of hot bat. I like Alvarez, like you said, he looked fine yesterday. I watched his at bats. He was totally fine at the bat, good swing. Yep. So obviously they get a nice bump with him back in there. So kind of like the Astros is maybe a little lesser owned stack. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys like really disappointed us on the likes. I figured I'd come back. We'd be sitting at 200. We're only at 152. I guess maybe the plays of the day will just be premium today, because it's a pretty low number. Title, what do you think? Give him one more chance, or?
Yeah, that's very hurtful. We'll give him a couple more minutes. We got a nice 4-game NBA slate today. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. What's your prediction here? Let's pull up the NBA games. I'll run through them today. Since I know you're hurt yesterday, the Suns, I know they just keep winning, keep dominating. Man, you're hurt, so
title's just running so pure right now. So pure. Except
on the Portland series. That was very hurtful. I mean, they couldn't even do it with Dame having 50. That stunk. But all right, let's DC hoop. All right, Philly -6 against Washington. We'll go all through them. Give your slight lean. We'll come back and the like should be up.
I'm gonna lean. I'll take the Wizards. I'll take the points there without Embiid. Give me the points.
I'm going Wizards too. No Embiid, and maybe no Embiid for the for who knows how long, right? A torn meniscus. Yeah. That's a blow to a team that had championship aspirations. Like, it's obviously not having Embiid hurts you, but it could hurt the other guys too, right? If they're not just down in the dumps a little bit. I mean, they're professionals. Maybe they'll get up for it, but I think there's a little something there. So give me the Wizards.
I like it. All right, Hawks. I'm leaning with Philly on this one. I think they do close it out, but that should be a pretty good game without Embiid. Hawks, Knicks. Knicks -1.5.
Oh, this is probably the easiest bet of the night. The Hawks. I mean, the Knicks suck. Like, all these people stroking the Knicks and all. Like, the Knicks are just, look at the roster. They freaking suck. And the Hawks, it's an easy play.
Yep. DC.
Yeah, two for two on the Hawks. Here.
Actually, I'm betting. I haven't bet that yet. I'm betting it right now.
Yeah, +1.5. I'm totally with you. They're way more talented. Joey Work. I'm sorry, but your Knicks you're going home. Yes. All right, Memphis, Utah. Utah -9.5.
I don't know. No strong lead, I guess. I'd take the Grizzlies, I think. I'd take the points. Hope they keep it close.
Yeah, I haven't watched the second of that series, to be honest, so I got no take.
Fair enough. I'm on Memphis 9.5. John Morant, Dylan Brooks just has to stay out of foul trouble. I mean, he is so talented on both ends, but foul trouble hurts them. I'm on Memphis and the Young Bucks plus 9.5. Last one, Clippers Mavs, Clippers -7. Ooh.
Yeah, the Mavericks are dust, man. I'm still shocked they won the first 2 games. Give me the Clippers.
Same.
You're on Clippers. Yeah, that one's tough for me. I think I do lean Clippers -7. Luka can't do it all, so I'll lean them, but I think that one's the hardest for me to pick. All right, Hoop, come back, look at the likes, and tell me how you feel.
Cut them a break. I mean, we're at 185. I mean, whatever. We'll go.
It was a solid push, but yeah,
it was a solid push.
We should have been pimping the show harder out throughout the show. It's all good.
Yeah, we can't hold this up any longer. DC's got to get to Coors and start slamming some beers and rooting on the Coors stack. So we got to get him on his way.
The home run hitters.
Yeah. All right. I'll go to title first with the SO play of the day. Who do you got for us?
I'm going Austin Riley at third base. I mean, he's going to get some ownership, but I think Donaldson and Sano get more. It was between him and Gavin Lux. So you guys get a little 2-for-1. Gavin Lux will be much lower owned, but Austin Riley, he's been swinging a really hot bat. He goes yard today.
Love it. Really like Riley there today for sure. Good price tag. All right, I'll go to my play next, the 4X play of the day. I talked about the Astros, how I like them as a sneaky stack. I also talked about Altuve, how he's swinging a hot stick. Give me Altuve as the 4X play of the day.
Who's banging the garbage cans? Who's banging the cans for him?
Yeah. As long as someone is, we should be in good shape. All right, then lastly, we're going to our boy DC with the Mom's Basement play of the day. If you were looking for those bagel bites or whatever other fried goods, you're going to have to get them to go today because DC is going to be at Coors for the game tonight. DC, who is the Mom's Basement play of the day?
It pains me not to pick a Coors player here, but like some of the things I just talked about the Nationals. I'm going – yesterday I gave you Ronald Acuna. I said he would hit a home run and steal a base. Trey Turner does it again tonight. We'll make it 2-for-2 on the Jack in a Bag play of the day. Get the bagel bites, get in Mom's Basement. Trey Turner stealing a base probably in the first inning and then hits a home run later in the game.
Absolutely love it. I mean, it was on point yesterday. I'm feeling it's going to be on point again today. So, yeah, that will do it. We have JSU, Holden, our boy Big T. It sounds like Big T is going to have a rebuttal on the Up to Lock show. So we opened up talking about the matchup.
I might have to be watching that one on the Uber over.
Yeah, the Big T official rebuttal, I believe, is at what time are they going live? Maybe
4:30, right? Is it usually? Or 5:30 Eastern?
About 30 minutes or so they'll be going live to break down the slates Up to Lock. They'll talk some MLB, they'll talk some NBA, and they're going to talk about the big rematch between Title and Big T. So head on over and check that out. But we are going to get on out of here for Title, for DC. I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.
Good luck, everybody.